luck, everybody. Like, normally this parking lot, even on a Tuesday night, probably has 4 to 6 cars in it. Like, there's nobody in here. So we actually have the whole space to ourselves, which is wonderful. And you're looking at me, Liz, like, what the hell are we doing in a parking lot? Congrats, you made it. So this place used to be something relevant to the history of Charleston. That's why we're here. Communication devices, this is where I start withholding information on purpose. So I will not tell you everything I know about the place, and I will not give you questions here like what color is George Washington's white horse. Kind of keep that in mind, like what we did with the big red barn. Right? So what is this place? This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of this space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across. And we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. Yeah, I know it's confusing when you first walk in, like what the hell are we doing here? But the place is very active. One of the most active spaces I've ever actually investigated in my 12 years of doing this. So, and that's not just a Robert Ford. Back to Eliza and Charles. Who the hell were these people? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks, in case you weren't keeping track. That's why we look for those secondary clues, everybody. In the event that somebody hears the name Charles, somebody else is going to give me a clue as to which one is actually starting to come through. That's the hope. Now, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution, but I hate politics more than all of you. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about Eliza instead. If I do not give them that recognition, by the way, we will get nasty messages on our spirit boxes. Just so you know, I've seen it dozens of times. I've been coming here for 4 years and make sure I give them the recognition. Back to Eliza. She marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it that way because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers like 12 and 14 from the colonial days that she came from. Think of today's standards, because her husband was over double her age when they got married. There's a creepy age gap then, it's a creepy age gap now. Now, she marries him because her father is over in England and he thinks he's dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he can see them before he dies. Eliza doesn't believe he's dying. So she stays put right here and gets married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that particular year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So, by the way, she was correct. Her father did not die right away, and instead he starts sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. That is a plant that makes blue dye, that makes our blue jeans blue. That's what we use it for today. Some of you have it on right now, just so you know. When she got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's obviously not, always hot here. Some of you are wearing sweatshirts and coats, for God's sake. It's not always warm here. Then she had to learn how to make the dye from them. And when she did that, she moved it to a cash crop, got a hold of Dad, and said, our rice plantation prices are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. So that is the boring business stuff of Eliza. You kind of know, like a basis of her. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here. What I will point out is that this space, I do change this up every year. And again, starting tomorrow, I start investigating the new space. But this year, I was going to take out this location because I was getting very rude and kind of disrespectful people on your guys' end. Like, come on, Eliza, let's go. And then they go take a leak in the corner. So I actually gave this place a break for a few weeks and kind of looked into the new space, but I always get drawn back because it is so active. That's what I love about the place. So when we're out and about in this location, please be respectful. So that's kind of a big deal to her. I also, every night, I come through this location before I meet with y'all to let her know how many people I'm bringing and your names if I know them. So your names are already written down inside my notebook. So for those of you that are impressed with me memorizing your names, I read them and had to write them down today because I do tell Eliza every single night. And John's laughing like, holy shit, this guy's serious. But yeah, this is what I do for a living, guys. So kind of keep that in mind. With the communication devices, I'm going to give you guys a set of focus questions to kind of focus on. You can say things out loud. You can just focus on things. That's okay too. There's no right or wrong way to do this. But keep in mind, we have a lot of communication devices out here. In the event Katie asks something, Liz might get the answer. We never know where things are going to fall, so kind of keep that in mind. So even if you want to cherry pick off another question that I gave for somebody else, by all means, do so. If you go rogue, the only thing I ask is you do not ask questions about Eliza's children. It's a sore topic, and we will get sore answers. So keep that in mind as well. I'm not looking to piss this woman off anytime soon. Spirit box communications. So we're going to actually start with John and Linda. Your guys' devices are going to kind of work together. So here's how this is actually going to work out. Eliza that I just told you guys about is the second wife named Eliza, by the way. First wife also had a maiden name that started with the letter L. So John, you're going to be looking for the initials of ELP in that order. I don't want an mix-up of all of those letters, ELP in that order. You're going to be asking which Eliza we're dealing with by asking for her maiden name. So again, it has shown up on that specifically in the past multiple times, and both of them have shown up, so it just depends. Next set of spirit boxes, where are we at with things? So it's kind of hard to tell who has here, obviously obviously
Do you
Monica has
have one?
headphones. So red spirit box on Gina's end
What do
and
you
Katie's
have?
end. So you two have the same set of questions as
Right.
well.
What's yours?
So you guys have Eliza's death. She's very open about talking about it, so you can ask her how old she was when she got married. You can ask her how she died, where she's buried, which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Like those are the 4 majors that we commonly get answers to on those spirit boxes. Okay, so
again, I turn the volume up.
yeah, so yeah, so when we spread out, we're going to turn that volume up and just start listening in. Okay. All right, so Liz and Ryan, you guys are going to have the same set of questions as well. So again, these kind of work in pairs based on what type of devices they are. Your guys' devices, believe it or not, work the exact same way. You're just working off of just FM. He's got both AM and FM. So it's just attempting to take out that white noise. Unless you guys can see something I can't, the mansion's not here anymore. So yeah, so ask what happened to the mansion, and then when did that happen. If we get the what, we will commonly get the 2 or 3 numbers of the date of when that actually occurred. Just keep in mind, like, you guys are going to be telling me all of the silly little things that you're hearing on these spirit boxes, because again, Gina, you don't know if you're asking things, and we have the number 42 that shows up, and that's relevant to somebody else of whatever they were asking. So again, 42 is not a number that is relevant to the space. Any numbers that came out of the COV yet? Nothing yet at all. Okay.
Highest I got was a 1.1.
Yeah, 1.1 is natural from the earth. So, and you're going to ignore your readings, both of you, when we're on sidewalks and crosswalks, because the electrical lines for parking meters are underneath our sidewalks, so it'll make it go off. All right, we are going to spread out a little bit. I'm going to keep John behind so I can show him a little bit more about that device, and I'm going to do like one Ron Robin with everybody to kind of see what's happening, and then kind of see if I need to do a secondary one to keep it going. So yeah, definitely keep your film running, nice and slow movements. Let's spread out. John, you're going to stick with me for just a minute. Do you have any letters popping through at all?
Yes.
Yeah, go ask him, ready.
Turn it all the way up now. So when we're walking on our sidewalks, like I just explained to them, the parking meter electrical line's going to make that thing go off. So underneath your red dot on the left side, there's a little dial. So I might say, John, go ahead and scale it back about a quarter turn, just so to take away some of the sensitivity of it. In here, there shouldn't be any electricity. So again, if you get letters, we're not going to get a whole lot of interference. When you don't see anything in that bottom row, go ahead and clear it, just like I showed you before.
Okay.
Just remember that this guy should point at 1 o'clock, because if you go any further, there are other modes to it. I just like to stick to letters, and if you want to do numbers, you can. It just doesn't say them of what they were.
Oh, okay.
So, yep, exactly. That's why I keep you behind, so I can show you some extra stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
You got it. All right, let's spread out and kind of see what we got going on.
So what's your...
Yeah, go ahead and unmute. Yeah.
And that it'll just come through.
It'll start coming through. It takes a
Okay.
minute to warm up, so kind of give it a few seconds.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. And are you recording, dear?
Yes.
You got a little red circle? Beautiful. Got it.
Let's go.
What's your podcast?
Go all the way over there. Let's go all the way to the corner over there. So, Eliza, my name is Nancy, and this is Ryan, and I want to tell you we are so impressed about everything that you've accomplished regarding the indigo and such. And if you're here, would you be able to give us a
Your
sign?
capes are really dark, temperature-wise.
Oh,
Kind of cool.
oh, maybe we're specters.
It's possible. Are you a ghost?
Perhaps.
Yes. What happened to your house?
Let's stay still over here, and we'll see if we can talk to her.
Where's your house, Eliza?
Eliza, I imagine your house was beautiful, incredibly beautiful. Were you proud of your house? Did you enjoy your time living in the house here? Do you want to share what happened to your house? Eliza, if you're here, would you be able to show yourself? We want to be very respectful to you, Eliza. But if you feel that you want to communicate or show us a sign that you're here, that would be so wonderful. You're a very admirable person. How do you feel, Eliza, when you look around and if you can see what's become of where your house was? Does that upset you? I'm sure it would. You know, you're very well renowned and remembered here in Charleston and all over the world. There have been many books written about you, and people still remember you. Eliza, going back, how do you feel about the place where your home used to be? Or is your house still here for you? Something's pulling on my cape. Or is it the wind? Like it's... Are you hearing any words on that, or is it just...
No. I did a little, but it wasn't audible.
What did you think it said?
It wasn't audible.
What's Eliza's husband's name? What was your husband's name, Eliza? Could you repeat that? Eliza, did you and do you love Charleston? I'm going to turn this camera around and I'm going to see if perhaps I can... What? Is that a person over there?
It's a tree.
Oh, the tree. Let's go in this corner over here. We have heard a lot of static, but we can't make out any words.
Okay, so let me take a look at it. I'm going to turn up the
And
volume a little bit. So it gives you a
especially
little
when
bit
I
more.
asked about, what did I ask about? And it kept, I asked the same question over and over, and we kept getting a quick...
I want to make sure I'm just giving you a little bit more, just so you have something else to work with. So the volume and the filter, they're kind of, they work hand in hand. So if the volume is down, the filter is going to be stronger. So if I
Okay.
push the volume up through the filter a little bit, you get a little bit more oomph.
Okay.
So again, you don't want it to be too much. That's almost like right on the brink, but you should have a break here very shortly as it's kind of sweeping through all of those stations.
Okay.
But try to stick close together because yours doesn't record. So if you miss something, it'll be on the audio from your camera.
Got it.
That's
Good
the reason
idea.
why I paired this up together this way.
Okay. And a quick question. Eliza's husband,
Mhm.
is that a touchy subject? Can we
No.
ask? What was his?
Charles.
Charles.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's three of them.
Chucks.
That's
Three
right.
Chucks.
Chuck, and Chuck.
Right.
Okay.
So husband, son, and nephew.
Husband, son, and
All named Charles Pinckney.
oh, cool. Okay.
Very hard to keep track of.
Yes.
So, and I can see where you're like, what the hell was his name again?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Okay.
it's not a touchy subject at all. And it was a true love story. So try not to poke the bear
Good.
that there was a love affair or anything like that because you will piss her off. This
Oh,
was true
yeah,
love.
sure. I'm trying to
So,
be very respectful.
Got that. I appreciate that.
Thank you. So Charles. Charles. Charles, Eliza's husband. Are you here? Charles? Eliza? Stay still. Stay still. Charles, is that you? Eliza? Eliza? Eliza, can you respond if that was you, or was that Charles, one of the Charles, Chuck, or Chuck? Yeah, I asked you about your house before. Were you happy when you lived here? Were you happy here? Were you proud of your beautiful home? Are you sad that it's no longer here? Eliza, is your home here for you? Are you still able to visit your home? And Charles, is Charles with you, your husband? Charles, are you here? Hello? Do you have anything you want to say? Do you have anything that you want to address? What did you say? That sounded like Eliza.
I thought it was a line.
Okay, I'm going to walk around, and what I'm holding, this camera is an SLS camera, and it picks up your figure if you're here. I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but if you're here, it will show up on this camera. I'm going to put my son Ryan in the frame, and stay still. And perhaps you can go stand by him. He's a kind, good soul. Oh, that was a person walking behind you. Wait. There's something behind you. Stop moving. Is that you? Could you please stay still? Is that you to the right of Ryan? You're not moving your arm, but there's something that's showing up that keeps going behind you, just a straight line. Okay. Eliza, if you want to show up, you can. So, can you tell us what was what was one of the things? Are you speaking? What is one of your happiest memories of living here? I know that you had a very happy marriage. Are you two still together, Charles? And Eliza? Okay, let's go back over here. We're gonna go back and meet with our guide, Eliza. Thank you if you came through. And Charles. And whoever else is here. Is there anyone else here? Is there anyone else here that wants to come through?
We're going to group in a little bit further just in case the car flies in, just so you know, because there's only one entrance and exit to this location. If you have a camera, by all means, give your hands a break. Brian, definitely get us on mute if you don't mind. So let me give.
They have really good instruments to show good show.
I don't know. Lots of interesting scents.
You said something about scents.
Me.
That's an anise tree.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Think of like Pizza cookies at Christmas time. That's what that is. That's what like those. We don't get that scent down here all the time, so it is nice when it actually is here. So talk to me, folks. What have we heard? What words do we have? Like, what do we have going on?
We just heard 40, right?
Yeah,
40.
40 walking Edith or edict, Jarvis or office,
So you
and
have a specific number.
Key West or the West.
Oh. 40. Yes. All right, going around the room. Gina, nothing? Along the way here, nothing at all? Any EMFs coming, or EVPs coming out of you, Monica?
I heard more here.
No, you're reading along the way.
Yeah.
Linda, where are we at with words?
I got Bandage, Thanks, Tablet, Blow, Park. So when you mentioned where the baby was born, was being buried, I got Park come up. It's kind of ironic that when you talked about it, it came up.
Say park.
Park, P-A-R-K.
And by the way, that St. Peter's that I mentioned earlier, that's the church in Philadelphia. That's Eliza's burial that she's at.
She did Park.
Yeah, it's actually it's a graveyard.
You can talk about St. Peter's, Wilbur. That's not actually a joke.
Then James. Okay, never mind.
That is where you have coming out of your Washington. You are all about our next location, but how far back did you hear Washington?
Pretty far back, like just when we were leaving the,
So basically the present.
yeah, I think so.
All right, who's next? Okay.
I heard the word sounds. Just I guess.
So it might be interesting on Monica's end of things, because she may have missed something about time where I need to check what the sound is. So interesting piece for sure. Anything being spelled out for you back here, John?
Negatory.
All right. Did I throw up anybody's name during that round? All right. Good deal. So we're going to huddle around a little bit further. Video cameras, I do want you to try to get a shot of one way or the other. Doesn't necessarily need to be in us, and that includes you there. So there's enough foliage in here so we can get the heat and cold. So in case an anomaly comes through. And again, you don't always have to look like the YouTuber Miss Nancy. You can always just hold it like a purse so you can like focus on the piece of history while we're here. if you want
Okay.
to. All right. So let's talk
Oh,
about
hold
why
it like a
we're here.
purse.
Got
so
it.
Go ahead and hit that start button. We do want to get some footage while we're here. What's that?
I haven't recorded since we've been.
You were recording earlier.
Yes.
I seen it blinking.
It's easier for me to hold it.
So you can hit that record button. Yeah. can see it because it'll blink on my end. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. So you guys keep me around, right? All right, so remember EMFs at 7 and above. Then for Ian, you're going to be the yellow and above. So kind of keep that in mind. All right, so every ghost tour comes down here, which is exactly why this is the space I'm taking out this year. Starting tomorrow, this will be in my tour less and less for the next 2 months until January, where it will no longer exist. So again, it takes me about 2 months with groups to be able to find that new space and make sure that it's going to be a fruitful location for us. So that's why this will be the cliche that's normally taken out. If you've taken another ghost tour here in Charleston before, you've probably been here. I'm going to give you the same story that everybody gives, but I'm going to give you more details because you're ghost hunting. You're not on a campfire and marshmallow kind of ghost tour. Here's how it goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. John, you're going to be looking for the letters RI specifically on your Ouija board back there. That's the reason why is the Rhode Island. Now, he moves down here. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. For those of you that are listening to your spirit boxes while we're in here, if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it is not coincidence. We get it all the time because it's part of the doctor's name. So keep that in mind. He moves here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. Dr. Ladd comes down here to Charleston to prove that he's not after Amanda's cash. So on his way into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay here in Charleston. It's kind of like having a really bad Uber driver. But because he's going to kill him, right? Bad Uber driver. But somebody was walking by. And I'm going to stop there for a second because the person walking by and seeing what was about to happen, his name was Ralph Isaacs. He has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. So I will tell you that the reason why I have the device that John is using is because of this location. I was getting the letters RI on regular spirit boxes, and I wanted to make sure we had the concrete and I wasn't mishearing it the several times that I did hear it over the years I've been coming here. So we have gotten RI about half a dozen times whenever I bring up Ralph. So now I know who it's relevant to. So you get my point. Now, back to Ralph and the doctor. Ralph tells Dr. Ladd, dude, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from friends of mine, and they'll help you out. You'll be safe and good to go. Doc took him up on the offer, and the two gents became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's cash. She gets wind of this, and she's moving down so they can be married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. He's a pretty happy guy. What I'm going to tell you is that every haunted city you will ever visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. Ours just happens to be a doctor. So we're going to talk about those whistles in just a minute, but back to Ralph and Dr. Ladd. They go see plays together. They cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. One night they go see Richard III, and on the way home they're arguing over the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph did not. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. Got pretty ugly. They go their separate ways. I told you Ralph has friends. He goes to the newspaper and puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Doctor saw the ad but rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. That's where you're standing. Dueler's Alley. So, that's what it used to be called, by the way. It's called Philadelphia Alley now, but it used to be called Dueler's Alley. So they came down here, they took their 10 paces away from each other, they turned, and the doctor points his gun in the air. Shot his one bullet. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up to the fight. But Ralph has his one bullet, puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd didn't die, but he dropped to the ground. Now, the person walking by, we want to watch our filming. I don't know how far they're going to come up here, just so you guys know. Now, every tour would tell you to listen for those whistles because it is always this quiet down here. Even on a busy Saturday afternoon, it's always this quiet. However, I will tell you that we will capture those other pieces, like I said, on the voice recordings and audio pieces, but your spirit boxes that you're listening to, especially when it's recording, I can't tell you how many times we've had the whistling part of a song and then the word doctor on a commercial right thereafter. Again, not a coincidence since I get it here all the time. What I will tell you is that Liz actually had the word doctor and healthcare. It showed up when we were back at Pinckney Mansion site along with the doctor's birthday. She heard 7-7 directly. The doctor's birthday is July 7th. So we do get double sevens all the time. It's usually from two different people, but all of the doctor terms went to Liz. So again, she didn't know where we were going. She didn't know what was going to be happening. So you can kind of see where I look at this and go, why did that happen? That's where I was a little confused because this is a little too far a bleed over from that kind of location. Now, I will tell you that if you're going to try this on your own and turn on your voice recorders and walk all the way through the alley, I can't take you all the way through. I'll explain here in just a minute because I've actually been kicked out of here. That's the fun part of the story. But keep in mind, if you're going to do it on your own and you hear something in the background, that every local knows this story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I used to do it every single morning when I was done with your data, because my office is over here, but my old parking garage is that way. So I had to pass by the alley at like 4 in the morning. So I'd always throw a whistle, you know, as I kind of walked by, just for shits and giggles. Let's talk about how I got kicked out of here. That's the fun part, right? That's the reason why I also like to pause when people are walking through, because again, it was part of from one of the neighbors. So let's talk about that. This alley didn't go all the way through from the way we came in. There was a wall up there. The reason why is because before this was Dueler's Alley. It used to be called Cow Alley. This is where they kept some of the livestock for the city of Charleston. We do get the word cow, meat, all kinds of things will show up on your spirit boxes at this point. But anyway, so imagine all these cows and chickens down here, but that means that the bricks on the other side down by Queen Street are older than the ones you're standing on. Those were sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there, and fingerprint swipes in others. And I used to take my groups all the way through just for a history piece. Nothing paranormal, because I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. Like, that's the last place you're going to find that kid, right? Because again, he's not going to stare at the brick that he slaved over. He's going to be at home with his mama somewhere. So, November 26th of 2020, I had my entire group of 10 people, and I took them all the way through. And I'm trying to shoo them along. They're all waiting around that brick, waiting for something to happen with all the gear I just handed out. I know nothing's going to happen. I'm also trying to be respectful to the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley, because we're outside his kitchen window. He was not happy about that. He came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because her dad's getting yelled at, and she thought it was hysterical. So we kind of moved on. We just went on our merry way and finished the tour, and the next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving simply because I worked for the biggest retailer you can think of for many, many years in upper management, and you guys like to fight on over towels on Thanksgiving. So I don't work on Thanksgiving anymore. So again, I own my own company. I don't have to. So the next day was the 28th. Yes, the date's irrelevant. I'm going to get to it. I called my partner that I had at the time. I told him what happened. He laughed at me just like my daughter did. And he said, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. You got to reroute the group. So it's Black Friday. I'm sold out again. I take my team of 10 and I tell them, this piece I just already told you about the duel, but I told them we got to reroute, but I don't believe in the next story because I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Obviously, we're discussing pirates next, if you haven't picked up on that. But before we left, somebody with a spirit box actually hears the name Anne. I did not tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating. And again, we're going directly across the street behind me. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I was kind of like, okay, shit, maybe we're going to get something. We get over there, I told them a little bit I did know about piracy, which wasn't much, and somebody else hears the number 300 coming out of their spirit box. I write it down because I don't know what it means. I'm going to look it up when I get back to the office. I look it up. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. Now, some of you, I see you nodding your heads going, that's kind of cool stuff. I was pissed. Let me tell you why. I have a master's degree in creative writing, and all of my other degrees are all in writing. So I write fiction and nonfiction. Especially when I'm doing paranormal investigations, I need facts and data. Pirate stories come from pirate lore, which were written 100 years after these alleged occurrences of when pirates were running about through the Golden Age, right? So, you know how many books I've had to read on pirates? There's been dozens and dozens of books on pirates, video games, documentaries, movies, you name it. I have watched, read, and played anything with pirates in it to make sure what we're about to discuss is at least coming from 2 different resources, and they're not coming from video games, just so you know. So they're all about the books. So where we're going, it's a 50-50 shot that Anne will be there, because again, ghost hunting is never an exact science. That's the beauty of it. But when we get over there, it is a fun story for sure. We will be able to spread out like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site, but remember, you're probably going to get bleed over from this location as well. So the gate before we leave, and I asked you guys what you guys may have seen or heard with your devices while I was giving you all this history. The gate behind me, I want you to remember, I told you the alley didn't go all the way through up this way, right? There was a wall there. So if there was a loser to the duel down this way, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of the wall. Otherwise, they got to drag their dead body, the loser, all the way down to Queen Street and then double back to be able to go drop the body off before they can go celebrate with the winner. So I call this the Death Gate. Just keep in mind that the wrought iron was probably put here in the early 1900s, but you can see that the archway for the gate was part of the original wall. So I just like to point that out because not a whole lot of people know why this gate is actually here. Obviously, there's a lot of legalities with it and property lines and that kind of thing, and that's why the wrought iron was put in. So, any words or initials that I need to know about, John?
No,
Spirit boxes, anything going on? Katie?
no.
Liz? Gonna go real quick. Linda, last 2 words.
Deliberately grab.
Deliberately grabbed. Did anybody get touched while we were here? Okay. Any numbers coming out of the 2 of you? Nothing
I
about
did have one spike.
how high?
It was about 6.9.
6.9. So again, I expect anything above that 7. So,
So this is right.
and the fact that Diana didn't get anything, it's kind of true telling, and you're on the same unit of measure. So, Monica, did you hear any strange voices that you know of? Any whistling? This will be really cool when you guys go back to that recording, so when you guys can see if there's any whistles in the background. So she'll probably be the one to best pick it up, to be honest with you. Gina, anything coming out of yours? And of course, Ryan was on mute this entire time. With that said, are you guys ready to learn about some rated R pirates? Yep, I figured as much. I talked quite a bit. So let's get, by the way, this weather like dropped dramatically. Like I didn't know if I should wear long sleeves or not tonight. So I originally had my Ghost Hunter t-shirt on, and I was like, this will be my costume for the night. And then I was like, gonna need my damn hoodie. All right, let's go learn about these crazy pirates. Barry, you all right? Is this really getting late for you? Like you got quiet all of a sudden. I'm worried.
Yeah.
Okay. I love him. Can I take him home?
What was that?
And what did you hear?
333. Yeah.
Deep out of reach. Discovery 333. Anybody else got anything? Wow, nothing?
627, just right now.
As in like June 27th. I don't know that that's a relevant thing, but that's how I'm just showing you guys like how I look at these numbers. I love how Monica is laser focused, by the way. Jackie shows up all the time. She loves it. So, and again, now that all the attention is on Jackie and not me, I love it. It's okay. Happy Halloween, everybody. It's actually not live. So, it's perfect. Every tour comes through here, but they talk about the powder magazine. We're going to be doing that too, but we're going to be looking at it in a much different light. So that is the gunpowder magazine, which held gunpowder for 7 different wars. So those are not crosses on the building, just so you guys know. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with earthquake bolts, they're basically turnbuckles. And if we have another earthquake, like what I mentioned in 1886, you can turn the turnbuckles and it'll tighten the building up so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. I only bring them up is because that's part of the reason why we're here, is because those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in, because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We're here simply because Anne would recognize this building because it's from her era. It was being constructed at the same time she came here to start her new life. It's what I call familiar. Seems like everybody here watches the ghost hunting TV shows of some capacity. You guys have seen that Boo Buddy, which is the teddy bear with the K2 meter in it, like that Ian has. They use that so the child would recognize a toy. Take that mentality and put it on this building for Anne Bonny. We don't have many buildings this old. This is something she would recognize. Hence why it's a 50-50 roll of the dice that she'll even be. So let's get into the history of Anne, and it starts right in the middle of its construction. The building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like a government small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. It's fine. But anyway, 1708. Try to follow me here. There's a couple of twists. I will slow down on the twist because this is a kick-ass female pirate, and it can get a little loopy in the head if you're not following along. Now, 1708, a young lady moves here. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you guys with me so far? Okay, the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was his wife that she kicked him out of the damn country by boat? There's no planes, guys. So be nice to your ladies who pick you up to Canada by plane. So anyway, don't be laughing. I know, I'm talking fast at this one because there's a lot of history here and I try to breeze through it so you guys can get back to work. So, Dad and Mom and Ann all land in Georgetown, and that's between us and Myrtle Beach in case you're not familiar. Dad bought a plantation, Mom dies pretty quickly. That means young Ann is now coming, being sent down here but by Dad to sell things from that plantation to keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. She comes down here alone. So, let's go back to Ireland for just a split second. They say Anne was kind of a badass even back in Ireland. When she was 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, all the stories are different, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Can't tell you how many times I've had servant, knife, and belly show up on 3 different devices and nobody knows what the other 2 people have. So again, happens all the time. Fast forward, the building's done in 13, but by 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love with one of these pirates so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world during these times. So the first guy she falls in love with is, and I said first, by the way, because there's a handful. That's what makes the story so damn interesting. First guy is James Bonney. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica, they get married, and Cormac became Anne Bonny. That's where the name came from, the pirate name. So when she gets down there, she realizes that James, her new husband, is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was looking for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wants. She falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. That's why I named the cat Jack. Now, Calico Jack is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who this guy actually was. Now, Calico Jack has his own ship, he has his own crew. Anne wants to be part of the crew. Does anybody know why you cannot put a female on a pirate crew? You guys are out here working with your communication devices. I know, Jack. You look exhausted, by the way. It's a hunting night. Back to Anne. She comes back without that baby, but also dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. To make him even more angry, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew he just captured. They're down below deck. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship, trying to be pirates. Her name, Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for sure because it's of the age of the tale, but the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1 bolt flintlocks. They don't know how to use cannon jets. They haven't been pirates very long. So obviously 2 ladies with 1 bullet guns are not going to do very well against a whole fleet of ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up a lot for you guys. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so violently on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates. They're dead and gone. So the 2 ladies go in front of the judge. They reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and the judge does not give a shit if they are female. They are still pirates. He is still going to hang them. So they scream out, "We plead our bellies," meaning they're claiming to be pregnant. Once again, trying to save themselves. It is illegal to hang a pregnant woman in 1720. He grants the wish, and he sends them both back to jail. Now, Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we do not know jack squat about her after her pirate career. There are so many speculations, I'm not going to throw rumors out there at you. I'm telling you what we can actually prove. Mary Reed died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in the Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books tell you it was something simple like fever. Let's make it romantic. Call it scurvy. I don't give a shit. We're talking pirates, right? So, here's the thing. I'm not going to assign questions at this location. I want you guys to have fun with this one. This is not a prominent English woman where I need to keep in control. I'm just going to tell you a few things I left out of the history, so you have something to work with. I did not tell you the name of Anne Bonny's parents. I called them the father and the mistress. That's what their names are. The name of Calico Jack's ship that Anne joined. I didn't tell you the name of that either. The city where Anne grew up in Ireland. I didn't tell you what that was. And the color of her hair, which I'm sure you can all speculate the cliche of a red-haired, green-eyed Irish woman. You'd be correct. Her hair was red. So I normally give that this question to somebody that's struggling with a spirit box, so that way they can grab onto the word red because it's only 1 syllable. So have some fun with this location. Again, 50-50 roll of the dice if she'll be here. I'll see what's going on. So let's spread out. Get the spirit box is up and running, Ryan. So let's have some fun with this. All right. You know I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, you're fine.
Let's go over here, Ryan.
Okay, it's coming out.
Hey, Anne.
I
And
don't
you
think
sound
they have
like...
that shirt on.
Hello,
Pirate.
Anne. Stay still, Ryan. And Bonnie, is that you? I'm Irish too. My grandparents came from Ireland. What town or city in Ireland are you from? Or Anne, do you play with the kitty that comes by? Kitty, kitty. Look, Little kitty's on there. Hey, Anne, why don't you go pet the kitty? So, Anne, you sound like a wild one. No comment? Is Mary here? Oh. Tell us about Mary. What are your parents' names, Anne? What are your parents' names? Look at that cat. He's just sitting there. She. What are your parents' names? So what drew you to be a pirate? So Anne, we heard a story about you. And could you tell us what that is? What, in the sense of, what would you do after? Was it after she killed a man? Did you display something? Anne, did you display something? Okay, we won't bring it up again. Is that just a rumor?
Was it called Chalmers Street?
Yeah. Hey, Anne.
Ask about Chalmers Street.
Tell us about Chalmers Street. Did you have some wild times there? She doesn't like those type of questions.
She doesn't.
Sorry. Well, can you say anything about Chalmers Street? What's that? Tree. I'm sorry if I upset you.
Where in Ireland are you from?
Where? So, is anyone here? Tell us your name. Tell us your name. Say that one more time. Hey, quick question. Do you... Okay, let's go over. That's the... What do they call that? The magazine? No. We're gonna go over there. Oh, I should be more careful with this. We're gonna walk over to a place you might be familiar with. So, is there anyone else here who wishes to speak?
Human.
Human?
Human? Who's a human?
Did you?
Is it calling us humans?
We're humans.
Why would it be calling us that?
What are you? Is there anyone here that has any connection to St. Philip's Church? Calhoun? John C. Calhoun? So, what brought you to Charleston? Ooh, what's that? What's that?
I think it's the corner.
Well, it looks like
It's the corner spire thing.
that's fire.
Over here.
Hey, Anne, do you prefer Ireland or America? See if we get the church. I mean, did she spend any time in Ireland, or they came here when she was very young, right? I don't recall the story.
She was in the West Indies.
West Indies. That's right. Listen, is there anyone else here who wishes to say anything? We're listening. Brian, ask some questions.
What happened to your pirate friend, Anne?
Mary.
Mary.
Fake pregnancy? Did it say that?
Did you hear that?
I kind of heard that. Did you?
I heard something.
Forgive us if this is a sensitive subject. Just come over here. Did you just say topless? Is that a vicious rumor? We can stop talking about that if you'd like. Can I ask you a question? Regarding Mary. What did you say to the judge to try to get released? Because we're not clear on that.
I don't think we should ask questions we know the answers to.
Oh, but I'm saying, like, a lot of these are legends. Pirate lore. Is there anything you want to say on the subject? That's,
have.
Well, I thought I heard. I could be mistaken. Did
I heard
I
something.
heard something? It sounded like fake pregnancy. And
Wow.
we were talking, asking about Mary and, her friend and
Yeah.
so on. And I thought I heard that very clearly from it just before.
That's pretty specific.
Yeah.
I like it.
And we've gotten a lot of, can't quite make
Human.
up.
We heard
Oh, we
human.
heard human.
I don't know what that.
Yeah.
And this spirit box it's not going to give you as much as the other ones, but this
Right.
is the most accurate one I have.
Okay.
So whatever comes out of
Oh.
this, 3 out of 4 of the terms that you guys hear are relevant. So it's
Okay.
at 75%.
Yeah.
So that fake pregnancy, like I'm excited
Yeah.
about stuff like that.
That was kind of clear. Nothing else has been as clear. Like, I can't really make anything else. You heard human. What else did we hear?
I thought we heard pirate in the beginning, but
He did say that. He did say pirate.
we'll see.
Was it when you knew we were going to have pirate stories coming?
Yes, but before when we were walking here, I heard fuel.
Fuel? Pirate.
And I asked her if she enjoyed the cat, because the cat was just staying, and if she liked playing with the cat and so on and so forth. And the cat just sat there, like with its back to us, and just stayed there for a really long
Jackie
time.
the reason why I even named her to begin with is because one night we actually used her as kind of a tool.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can you tell us a number that's relevant to the story that Nick
Right.
just told us? And she would sit on 20 or
Oh, wow.
28. And she would not just sit on, like, within that space, it was on the number. Like, it was
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
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 So, like, that's why she's become kind of a staple.
Yeah.
And when I see her all the time, I'm like, hi, Jackie. So I try not to let her rub on me because I do have 3 wiener dogs and it will attack
Oh,
me when I
okay.
get home. So I kind of try not to, like, let her rub on me, but
Yeah.
I know she'll go up to you guys for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
It's interesting, too, because this is just something to say. We heard on one of the ghost tours some, like, stories about Annie that were a little wild.
Yeah.
After she would do whatever she did, she'd kind of display herself and things like that. And we were bringing that up, and it was radio silence. Anytime we
What,
brought out
Chalmers
something
Street?
like that, Chalmers Street, tell us about that, because it was supposedly lawless there, right? Wild. And every time we
I would say
brought up
lawless
something,
completely, but yeah, it was definitely more free.
yeah, that's what the lady said was. But every time we brought up something like that, was kind of,
Yeah, it would go silent.
yeah, silent.
But she did used to bear a breast after
That's,
killing a man.
yeah, that's
So-
what we brought up.
So-
And so, but there was nothing.
And it's funny as I bring that up when I'm showing you like
Yeah.
the answers, and because again you have to remember she's wearing male pirate garb.
I know.
So it makes
I
sense
was
as to
thinking
like,
of-
haha, you got killed by a girl.
Right, but
Like,
wouldn't she, like, I was thinking, oh, she'll kind of make noise about that, but it was just like, nothing.
it might not have been something she was super proud of.
I know. And there was something else we said. What else did we say to her? And there was silence.
I just heard
Oh,
her
about
name.
you did.
I heard Anne just now.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Mary, is that the one we were asking about the other one?
About Mary.
And it was silent.
Oh, about their friendship or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. Because and it wasn't just that it was silent. I got a sense, like, stop.
Don't ask anymore.
Like, stop.
Okay. Yeah, welcome to my world, dear. This is how this goes. I think I'm going to rein everybody in. You guys are a big
Okay.
group to do more than one round robin with, so let's head over to
Okay.
the wall, everybody. I want to see what else is going on.
What'd you just hear?
He heard
You just did that? Oh, he did, yeah.
And I'm going to have to learn like how to listen to this. Wind, they actually make covers for the wings.
Look. You see that?
What is it?
Look.
That's a shadow.
But does it pick up shadows?
See, it's a shadow.
Wait.
It's a shadow.
Oh.
She quit dinner.
Why does it pick up
All right, so
shadows?
let's kind of cover the answers for this location. We did get an 11. I am going to kind of have to give you another piece of history because we did get, who had, what was it, 800 and 88? Yeah. So that's just, I know that sounds like, oh, you just heard a 1-800 number from a commercial. We did get the number 88 and it stopped right there, right? Because that's all you told me. There is a piece of history, by the way, cameras, you can stop them and give them a break. So, pictures.
I love this church. We're on Meeting Street. Meeting Street. You hearing anything?
This is such a creepy picture. I love it. Ooh! Isn't this a cool, like, isn't it beautiful? Isn't it like
Open it up occasionally.
congregational church? And the tombstone, right? Like,
Wait, what? Oh, is that just
such a great.
is that just lights?
Come on, we're being left behind.
Okay. Chalmers Street. Annabelle Lee. Edgar Allan Poe.
You look very official with that.
Thank you. As do you.
No, I don't. But thank you anyways.
Katie, where you at? Right here. Oh, perfect. Have a seat. The rest of us are going to go over to that bus, and I'm going to give them the history, and then we're going to come back, so that way they can know what's going on with you guys. You guys just won't know. So that's the whole point. So it's going to be giving a set of those things right from you. So somebody came up and you put that on you. And then I'm going to be giving you a disposable blindfold. This is a little origami project we've been working on for a while. I know, right? If you can't figure it out, it's no big deal. I bring a whole stack of them. Again, I'll be really impressed if you actually figure it out. I will be giving you guys a few tips and tricks when we come back. So you're of course scared. We're going to keep it back on the first 6 months of time. See if it's part of the plan that I actually want. Cool. So, what did I do there? You guys You got it. You guys can just sit here and be besties for a few minutes. All right, let's go learn some quick history, guys. This is going to take like 3 to 5 minutes.
I know exactly right.
All right. So, by the way, Nancy, the reason I even have that camera is because of this location. Somebody brought one of the ones, the big ones you see on TV, and we had an 8-minute interaction inside.
Oh
this
my
place.
goodness.
Yeah. And I say interaction like, hey, dude, is it okay if I read some of your work? Raise your right hand. And he raised his right
Oh
hand.
wow.
So that's why I have that camera now.
Okay.
All right, so first time I came in here, I've only been coming here for a year. So this was the new space that I researched when I gave the Pinckney Mansion site a break. And I only had 2 people because it was cold and everybody like canceled. Like you guys are all bitching that it's cold out here. Like I'm like, it's chilly, but I'm still comfortable. But anyway, so the young lady listening to a spirit box, here's the year 1828 and the name Henry. I'm using the digital word list that Linda has because I always like to have a backup, and I have the name Tim on it. Behind me is a bust of Henry Timrod, born in 1828. So it was like a hot damn, there's my ghost, right? Here's a quick story on him and what you guys need to know before we get over there. Being born in 1828, so you need to know, first off, he was a writer and he was sick through most of his life. So that's a big deal. Being born in that time, he was old enough to go fight in the Civil War. So he goes out to the battlefield to go fight for the Confederates, and his comrades realize he's too sick to fight. So they sent him home, and they said, go be the voice of the war. They wanted him to write about what was going on in the battlefield. He came home to Charleston and started writing poetry about what's going on out there. He became known as the laureate of the Confederacy. So it's a pretty big title for him. A couple years go by, he has a son. The son is born on Christmas Eve, but dies 9 months later on October 23rd. So obviously that was just about a week ago, about 8 days. So again, October's been very odd to try to make contact with this gentleman because he also died in October. So obviously very tragic for him and his wife Katie. So a couple more years go by and his other friend from college realized he's not writing as much. He's another writer. His name is Paul Hamilton Hayne. He says, go use my cottage in the middle of the state and get back on track. Leave your wife behind with her parents to mourn and get back to work. So he goes out there, he wrote his last words. His last words were, beholder of brief mortality, which means dear person with a short life. And then he coughed, and it landed on the page in a blood stain. So, let's go past. You want to move forward a little bit, Ryan? So, he had tuberculosis, which is exactly how he passed away. He died right there on the page. Now, you're all thinking, okay, big whoop, he died of tuberculosis and there's a blood stain on his work. That blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk. They show this one day a year on Halloween. They showed it today. However, you got to be a member of the Charleston Library Society to be able to go see it because that's where his collection is being held. The internet's beautiful. I'm going to show you this blood book, and then we're going to go talk to Liz as if she's Henry Timrod, and Katie's hopefully going to be giving us images that are going to be complementing that conversation. As we are over there, we are going to stay pretty close to them, just so you know. The reason why is I don't like the other tourists to see that I'm blindfolding my guests in the middle of a dark park. Especially, that's why I told the ladies, don't put your stuff on. So your blood stain is right here. You can see now how it looks like a man writing at his desk. So zoom in a little bit. Yes, exactly. This is a very big deal for this city. Like everybody knows who Henry Timrod is, because that's kind of a big deal for us. Now, with that, we have gotten EMF in this location. So Diana, Carlos, you guys are going to be really paying attention. We have gotten triple digits in this location. So 167 during this whole session. Other spirit boxes, word list, Ouija board people, all pay attention to your devices. The reason why is because if we're not getting an answer out of Liz, it's going to come up in one of your devices. I'm hoping, honestly, it's going to come up more so for Monica, so that way I can hear it back as an actual voice from Henry Timrod. Like that's going to be the point of why we're here doing this with her. Filming, as far as that goes, Eric, you're going to stay focused just on them because you're going to have probably the best footage. The other two cameras, feel free to film whatever you want to. That's kind of how this goes. Just keep in mind of the other tours walking around. Just be, kind of cognizant of that. But yeah, we are going to stay in like a pretty tight circle. When I start packing up all of the gear, because this will be our last session together, I am going to send Carlos and Diana around and like kind of hit the hot spots around here to kind of see if you get any other readings that we may have missed since we came in. So before we leave the space, Linda, what are the last two words that you have, just so I kind of know what track we're on?
Chief and final.
Final chief. Yeah, it makes a whole lot of nothing for me. All right, let's go talk to a ghost. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
I do that on purpose. Right. I figured that there were going to be both men and women doing this, and I didn't want to mess up the lady's hair, so I had these open up to where there are Batman heads. So instead of going all the way around her head, yes, I'm very considerate. I have 2 daughters and an ex-wife and a new wife, so yes, I've lived with females my entire life. So here's how this is going to go down. I'm going to put my phone in, and you're going to start to see images. They're going to be 2D, nothing 3D in your face. You're just going to be very brief in your description because she's not going to hear us. So you're going to be talking over her basically.
Okay.
So if you said 2 ladies bench tree, keep it that simple. 2 ladies bench tree. If she's not talking much, I'm actually going to give like probing questions. Like, give me the time era. What is this person wearing? Something specific.
Okay.
You're going to tell me literally everything. So you're going to have a couple of pick a family member that's going to help you that's going to do some interviews. Okay, so bear with this. You're going to kind of be part of this as well. When we're done, because you're not going to be able to hear us, I want to keep you guys on this for 10 minutes. Because this can be very disorienting. So he's going to tap you on the leg when we're done. And this is a lot of fun. This can either work out like to where it's super silly, where she's basically going to be telling us a bunch of things that are just hysterical, or we're already getting an image. Wow. And holy cow, that's the image that's popping up, everybody. I mean, we have Christ on the cross. Pretty serious. As the church bells are going off.
Oh, wow.
So again, I can't make this stuff up. It is what it is. So here's you're gonna see gray smoke, so you don't fall asleep. It's gonna be nice rolling Cuban cigar smoke. So once this gets started, I'll slide it in there. You do have a focus right here, so if you can't see and it's a little blurry, just turn the focus.
Okay. Cool.
Just takes a second. Liz hasn't said a word yet. There, I might actually have you remind her to talk to us. Just lift up her earmuff and have her tell us everything she's hearing.
Tell us everything.
Smile for tears.
Tell us everything you think.
You're so animated. All of my pictures of you are like electric RV.
Oh, no, you're good. So it'll line up with you, but once you get this smoke, just hit your focus button and start telling us these other things that you did. I don't know what electric RV means, but we're going to move on. So come we turn on. It's 11:15. We're going to go for 10 minutes like we normally do. Happy Halloween, good sir. And if you are here with us, I want you to start off with telling us about your occupation.
Too late.
No, it's not. What's too late?
I'm seeing a windowed building with pillars.
Okay.
Looks old.
Henry Timrod, you're here. Give us something about your occupation. Let's keep it nice and light tonight. I know this is the end of October, kind of a month of mourning for you and your family, and trying not to cry too hard here. If you can come through and tell us what you did for an occupation, or give us some kind of tool, or show us something that you had to use, that would be great. She's like laser focused too, by the way. Like she hasn't moved an inch.
GIA.
Who that is? Gina. She's trying to spell out your name.
It's mapping.
You do?
Mapping how?
GIA is like how the organization that does land mapping.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like underground or somewhere.
Okay.
And there's the black image to my lower right, like a shadow or something, and then something in the distance.
Nobody calls you that.
Like a bird or a person or something, look, maybe walking.
Get a bird person? That can happen. That thing gives us really odd images.
Now it's foggy, so that like,
So it disappears.
yeah, disappeared. New image coming.
Great start.
Should we say right start?
Yes.
As in, he was a writer. You guys getting my point? I know it's out of context with the way she said it, but we still have the word right.
Internal.
Okay, Henry, we're going to get back to, give us one of the tools that you have in here. What did you use for tools as a writer?
Ryan,
I'm seeing a sunny landscape with beautiful architecture.
she's not moving.
Something that reminds me of Rome. And there's like nice archways and a
But she's so
steeple of
still, but
sorts.
look at it.
None of these really make
It's
sense
odd.
until I see them. Can
Isn't
you
it?
tell us what thing you're seeing in there? Henry, did I hit a nerve by telling you Katie's name? That's his wife, by the way, in case you guys pick up on that.
Trainer.
Henry, we're going to need a little bit things more, to be more specific. So I asked you.
November.
I'm seeing that smoky like transition change
Yeah.
picture. So nothing yet.
Okay. What about November?
Particle.
Henry, let's talk about your wife. Can you tell us how you met her?
None.
She's not a nun. Can you tell us how you met your wife? He was her school teacher, just in case anybody's wondering. She was only 16 years old when they met. Henry, can you tell us how you met Katie? Can you give us some verification that you're here with us?
Still no image.
Yeah, sometimes we get like one image, sometimes we get 10. We never know. So, patience is the key. here with you that could yes no question?
Message brought
Did you bring
veterans.
Did you bring somebody else here? I know that you said the word bride. If you did bring somebody else here with you, who else is it? Can you give us their first name? How's our word list coming? Where's Linda? Do we have any names showing up on there? John, nothing on the little Ouija board over there?
Put yours on.
105.
We need a name, Henry. Who else did you bring with you? See if you didn't bring them. Who else is here with you? Seems like you don't want to really chat with us too heavy tonight. We'll try to get to know.
Delivery.
Henry, I'd like to know if there's anybody else here besides the 13 folks that I brought with me. I know this is a larger crowd than what I normally bring, but there are no other tours in here. I know you don't like it too loud, and we just have a very loud vehicle drive by. But just let us know if somebody else is here that may want to give a few clues about them. If you're still a little unwilling to talk because it's still October. It's been about 6 minutes, just so everybody kind of has an idea.
Hundreds.
Put your thing on. It stopped. It stopped. Put your thing. Put your voice.
Come back.
Put your voice thing on.
He doesn't want me to interrupt him. Come back.
No. That was really cool.
So we can see if it readjusts.
No. It's not the same. That's weird. Who are you?
nothing happened. You didn't give us a silly bug, which sometimes if nothing happens and our ghost goes here, then we at least
Horn and orgy kept coming through, and I was like, did that really just happen? Because then I was thinking so long, I was like, well, it's probably not relevant anymore if they're talking about it. I don't know.
ghost brought somebody with them, because sometimes Dr. Ladd will slip through. Nothing came through on our word list that Linda was shouting out at me. Gina, did you hear anything at all? Nothing at all. Okay, so this has just been a very light night. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think the most exciting thing that we actually had was that 44 milligauss reading at the Pinckney Mansion site, and we did get an 11 when we were at the Powder Magazine, which is a huge anomaly for that space. We don't normally see that things go that high. However, this ghost, as you guys already know, at this location, exhausted and tired, so I will send you guys back to wherever you need to go.